The night I burned everything for nothing. My name is Claire Donovan. I wish I could tell you I didn't see it coming. That I was swept into something I didn't expect. That it just happened. But that would be a lie. 'Cause deep down I knew. I knew what I was doing when I agreed to sit with him at that party. I told myself it was harmless. Just a conversation, just a dinner, just a few drinks. Nothing more. But by the end of that night, I had destroyed everything that truly mattered to me. For a moment I didn't even enjoy. A moment I regretted the instant it happened. I've been married to Matthew for almost 9 years. He's the kind of man who brings you coffee in bed without you asking. The type who listens, really listens, when you vent about deadlines, coworkers, or nothing at all. He's steady, gentle, predictable in all the ways that make you feel safe. We've had our share of fights like any couple, but we were solid, or at least I thought we were. I work in corporate logistics. Not glamorous, not thrilling, but it's stable and keeps the bills paid. My boss, Owen Whitaker, is everything Matthew isn't. Bold, charismatic, and a little too charming for his own good. He dresses like he's stepping out of a fashion editorial and talks like he's never once doubted himself. Owen had always flirted, in the way bosses sometimes do. Compliment on my dress here, a joke about my laugh there. I always brushed it off. I knew how to keep it professional. Or I thought I did. The company's annual gala came up. One of those formal evenings with champagne, speeches, and overpriced chicken. Matthew was supposed to be my date, but our son Ben came down with a fever the night before. "You should still go," Matthew said, brushing hair from my face as I pulled on my coat. "You've worked hard. You deserve a night to enjoy it." I promised him I'd just make a brief appearance, grab a photo or two, and be home before midnight. But that's not what happened. The venue was stunning. Chandeliers, soft jazz, candlelight, polished silver. I wore a sleek black dress that hugged just enough to make me feel confident. Not to impress anyone else. Just to feel good in my own skin. Owen spotted me immediately. He raised his glass. "You look dangerous tonight." I laughed it off. "Just here to collect my plaque and slip out quietly." "Come on," he said, motioning toward a table in the back. "At least stay for dinner. You've earned that." I hesitated, but everyone was already seated. His table was tucked away in a quieter corner. Felt easier. He poured wine before I could say no and raised his glass. "To the ones who do the heavy lifting and still look flawless." Dinner started innocently. We talked about quarterly goals, expansion ideas, some suggestions I had for optimizing freight timing. But somewhere between the second glass of wine and dessert, the tone shifted. "I've never met someone who challenges me the way you do," Owen said, leaning in. I laughed nervously. "You say that to all your employees?" "No," he said flatly. "Only the ones I wish I met in another life." That should have been my cue to walk. Instead, smiled. And when he reached across the table and placed his hand over mine, I didn't pull away. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Matthew. "Everything okay? How's the food?" I didn't respond. After dinner, as people trickled out, Owen asked if I wanted to get some air. We stepped outside under string lights in a quiet courtyard. He was standing too close. "You know," he said softly, "I've always wondered what a woman like you is doing with someone like him." My stomach turned. "Someone like who?" "Your husband," he said with a shrug. "He seems fine. But you deserve more than fine." I took a step back. "I should go." He didn't move, but he reached for my waist gently. "I've thought about you more than I should," he whispered. And then he kissed me. It wasn't forceful. It was slow, measured. And I let him. For about 3 seconds. And then guilt, hard and fast and overwhelming, crashed through me like a dam bursting. I pushed him away. "What are we doing?" I asked, my voice shaking. He just looked at me and said, "What you wanted?" "No," I said. "That was a mistake." I turned and walked away. Heart pounding, vision blurry. I got in an Uber and rode home in silence, nauseous with regret. When I got home, Matthew was asleep on the couch with Ben on his chest. I stood there in the dark, just watching them breathe. It was the most pure, unguarded moment, and I felt like poison. The next few days I tried to act normal. I made lunches, folded laundry. I replied to emails. But I was distant, cold. I flinched when touched. I couldn't sleep. Matthew noticed. "Something wrong?" he asked one night. "Just tired," I whispered. At work, Owen acted like nothing had happened. No weirdness. No acknowledgement. Except one text. "You felt it too, didn't you?" I deleted it instantly. But the damage was already done. The next morning, Matthew's phone died and he asked to borrow mine to call a client. I handed it over, forgetting. 10 seconds later he said quietly, "Who's Owen?" Turned frozen. He was staring at the message. Me. "What is this?" he asked. Had no words. And in that silence, he understood everything. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He just looked broken. He packed a bag that night. Ben said he needed space. I cried harder than I ever had in my life. The next morning HR called me in. Someone had reported inappropriate conduct. Owen denied it. Of course he did. Said it was all a misunderstanding. I didn't defend myself. Couldn't. I was quietly transferred. No more client-facing roles. No promotion. No more trust. At home, Matthew stopped replying to my texts. A lawyer reached out to begin mediation. We never spoke face-to-face again. It's been 6 months. Matthew has a new place. We share custody of Ben. But our conversations are short. Mechanical. I haven't seen or spoken to Owen. I avoid his floor. His meetings. His face. I started therapy, not to undo what happened because I can't, but to understand how I let it happen. 'Cause I was bored. I was insecure. I mistook attention for affection. And I destroyed the one man who loved me without conditions. For a fleeting, empty moment I didn't even want. So if you're hearing this, please. Don't chase validation in places that don't care about your heart. Don't entertain the wrong people just because you feel unseen. It wasn't just dinner. It wasn't just a kiss. It was the moment I broke something sacred. And some mistakes you don't recover from. You just carry them forever.